Hi, good morning. Welcome to Brunch with Brian, your home investing live stream. Great to see you this morning. And it is Thursday, so what am I doing in Formal Dining Room Fridays? No, because tomorrow, guys, you're going to be joining us for training on our Taking Action workshop, our virtual Taking Action workshop. So again, that's happening tomorrow at 11 a.m. 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific time. And so, of course, you're going to be joining us for that. And I wanted to talk about training today. Actually, what is training to you, and where does it fit into your life, and what's your attitude and your approach towards training? And I like to think of this, the Jane Austen novel, that the famous happily ever after story, Pride and Prejudice. And so I like to think of training in terms of Pride and Prejudice. All right, so when you approach training, what's your mental approach? What's your mindset? Okay, I can tell you right now what your mindset should be. You should be in the role, and I like to interpret mindsets as roles. What role should you be in? Good student me. You should be committed to training, committed to learning what there is to be learned off of this training session. And so every time you come and see me on Brunch with Brian, I give some kind of training. Sometimes it's positive programming, sometimes it's mental motivation, but a lot of times it's actual real estate nuts and bolts training. And so when I'm doing that, I always think you should be taking notes, you should be focused, you should be in good student role. And that's the same for when we do our Teaching Tuesdays conference calls. You want to be in good student role for about an hour. Now that good student role made me rich. I will tell you right now, that good student role made me rich. That's why I wore this ASU. I didn't go to ASU. All my kids went to ASU. I went to Minnesota, University of Minnesota, graduated summa cum laude because I was good at getting into that good student role. Actually, I was very good, and I could take a class where I could not study that much. Okay, I shouldn't probably confess this, but there were some classes that I didn't have to ace necessarily, and where I really didn't always focus perfectly and play the good student role. I played just enough of the good student role, where I studied all the material and read the book, read all the pages, and went over all the notes the day before the test, crammed. I was good at cramming, and then going in the next day and basically getting almost everything right. So I had good memorization skills. That's part of being a good student. But fortunately in this business, you don't have to really memorize things. Now, it would be helpful if you had a pretty good memorization of the deal meeting script. And that is everywhere. It's on your website, ourwolfpack.com, when you go up there. And it's in your deal meeting. This is probably the easiest way to access it, and I want you to have this. It's on actually there's two ways that are super easy. It's on your tablet, your script tablet. Now if you don't have that script tablet, we've only been offering that for the last few months. So you can get that with the upgrade when you get the code to be on the ourwolfpack.com. So if you can't go on ourwolfpack.com and access all your material, then you need to get that upgrade and get the tablet. The other place that you'll find the only scripts you really kind of have to memorize, which are the deal meeting scripts. The other place you'll find it is in the green packet. It's called the Deal Meeting Guide, and that's a really powerful, helpful guide. In fact, I want you to bring it with you when you go out on an appointment and park down the block and look it over, because everything's in there, the scripts and everything you need to prepare too. It's got the seller file checklist in there, which you need to have with you and all that. So that's the only scripts you really have to memorize and be a good student in that way. But what is, good student, you don't necessarily have to memorize. You have to get good at one skill, though, is reading. Reading naturally. And now you're going to have read these scripts over many times. That's the cool thing. It's like you can really prepare. You have plenty of time to prepare before these calls. It's not like all of a sudden you're handed a script 2 seconds before and say, live, you're going live, go. That's not what it is. It's like you have plenty of time to be a good student and read the scripts over, read them out loud. And what's the best way that you can be a good student is do role playing. That's the way you can learn fastest in a business like ours, where you're just learning that phone skills and learning to talk to people, and it's all in the words. And these are magical words you have. Guys, I used to write screenplays for 7 years. I lived in Hollywood and wrote screenplays. I wrote about 20 feature-length movies and about a dozen TV episodes. So I really got good with those scripts and making it sound natural. So if you practice it a couple of times, it'll sound natural for you. Okay, so now I talk about, so that's the only part you have to memorize is those deal meeting scripts. The other stuff you just got to role play and get good at so you can read it live to a real live seller. Now the other thing is, there is one little trick. If you're doing virtual deal meetings, you don't even have to memorize the deal meeting scripts because you're not in the house. You're looking at your computer and you can have the scripts right sitting next to you. That's how I'd prefer you do it. Sometimes you're going to want to do that on your phone. I'd rather you do it on a laptop and have your script set right next to you. Okay, so you're in good student role right now. You're in good student role, and this is part of your schedule. Schedule when the training is important. I was going to relate this to training Pride and Prejudice, okay? So, but I got into being a good student role and then scheduling your good student role periods. So for sure on your schedule is a time period for 1 hour from 7 p.m. Eastern to 8 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday. So that's, you got 1 hour of training that's already scheduled. Now, when I talk about Pride and Prejudice, sometimes you think, oh, I know that topic, or I know all about that. I don't have to learn that. You know, wrong. There's always incredible information in those Teaching Tuesdays, stuff you don't know, and I range pretty far sometimes. So if the topic is blank, you know, I may end up talking quite a bit about blank as well, which you didn't realize in the little blurb that said, today we're talking about this on Teaching Tuesdays. Oh, I don't need that. Okay, so if you're prideful and you think you know everything, this is a trap that people fall into, especially after they start doing a few deals. They start thinking they know everything, they can't learn everything. Who are the people that go to more trainings than anybody? Ron and his team, Ron LeGrand. So he knows a lot, but he can always learn more. I can always learn more. We can always learn more. The business is always changing. The market conditions are always changing. There's always new ways to do things better. So you're always learning in this business. And so Teaching Tuesdays is a time when you should just say, okay, for that hour, I am in good student role and I'm just focused and I'm taking great notes and that's it. Okay, now these Brunch with Brian's, obviously, hopefully you're with me live, but if you're not and you're watching this later, you know, I want you to be in good student role because I always give great information on this. And so don't think you know everything. Don't have too much pride when it comes to training. You can always learn. And sometimes when I go over the basics again and I say, what are the 4 Pretty House deal points? And you roll your eyes. Oh, I know those. What are they? You know, boom, 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 boom. Say them right now. Okay. Purchase price, monthly payment, length of term, down payment, or option deposit. So you should know those things just off the top of your head. So sometimes when I do, don't think you're so smart now that you know everything and you get full of pride and think, oh, he's teaching that same stuff that I heard before. Okay, it's always new. There's always new angles on things. Now, what's the prejudice part when it comes to training? Well, a lot of times you think, well, I can't, a lot of times your concern is I can't learn that, or I can't apply that, or that looks good, what Brian and Lynette are doing there, but you know, I can't really understand those creative financing deals. I can't explain those to people. So you're kind of prejudiced against your own ability to learn things. So when it comes to some things in training, you think, oh, that's just going right over my head. No, if you really focus down and really get, you know, and listen closely, I'm telling you, you can figure out all this stuff, even the more complicated stuff, even if you're brand new. There's nothing that complicated. And the way I teach it, guys, I always strive to teach it, you know, as if you knew nothing about real estate investing, or, you know, like I'm trying to teach I used to use fancy words and language, you know, to make sure people knew how I really understood the material and how smart I was, whatever. But I really realized that that's not how people understand. So I try to keep everything so simple, guys. I don't mean this in a way that you should think, oh, I'm smarter than a 4th grader. But, you know, sometimes I try to teach like I'm teaching to a 4th grader. And that's how everybody needs to learn, because you're too busy. You're too busy to learn it if it's complicated, but you can learn it if it's broken down into 2 or 3 steps. And, you know, I can do that. Okay, and especially, so the other, there's all kinds of prejudices when it comes to training, not just the material, but your ability to learn, and some material you think, oh, I don't need that and that. So again, get the pride and prejudice out of the way when it comes to training, get into a good student role. That's really what you need when you're training. So take the pride and prejudice out and get with us tomorrow. So even though maybe you've seen our Taking Action workshop, the virtual one before, they're always new. I'm always going over new things, and tomorrow is a great example of that. We're going to really focus on acquisitionists tomorrow a lot, because you may be, even if you have not done a deal, you should absolutely be thinking, maybe I could put an acquisitionist on right now. If you had the right person in your orbit, I would absolutely encourage you to start thinking about maybe starting them off as even a FSBO caller. All you need is someone who likes to talk on the phone, who and isn't scared to read a script on the phone. I'm telling you, that's the one biggest thing, and it's just crazy how people are so afraid of that. You really have to find the right person as an acquisitionist to just get over that one hump of everybody's afraid of the darn phone. Now, that's the thing that you have to overcome too, because you can't be afraid of the phone either. Sometimes you can be nervous about calls, okay, and you're going to be, and I'm not going to say you can't wave a magic wand and never be nervous, but that's why you're a good student. And I'm telling you, the more you get into good student role and practice the scripts and role play the scripts, the more that anxiety goes away. You can actually, this is the great thing about the good student role. The good student role is so powerful that it can crush fear. Your good student role can crush fear. That's how powerful it is. And it's the role that you will train with, so that then when it comes to taking action and actually implementing all the things you learned, you know them. You know it cold, and you're solid. So don't let pride and prejudice work into your training. Be open and be a good student, and realize that there's tons to learn. So join us tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific, Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific. And I really want to see you tomorrow, because now is now. Now is now. This summer is this summer. Whenever we do the taking actions and it's in the fall, I think, well, summer's over, but you can always buy houses all the time. But whenever we're at this time of the year, especially, we're right on the verge of kicking off summer here. So this is the time I really want you focused, and this is a special training tomorrow that you should be in to really set yourself up for a great summer. Okay, so let's smile. Oh, I didn't even go over anything today. And I did want to talk about, Lynette used to be a hairstylist. Actually, she wanted to own her own business. She was always entrepreneurial. And so she didn't know about real estate. And so she was actually getting trained up to be a cosmetologist. And she actually has a cosmetology license, and cut hair for a while, and cuts my hair. So that's kind of cool. And it's a hairstylist mental health day today. So say a nice word to your hairstylist. It's also Gray Day, which is cool. That commemorates brain cancer awareness, and your brain is gray matter, and so let's all take care of our brains. I actually take a brain supplement, and I try to do the best I can for my brain. And Kissinger is 98 today. That's just, anytime people live a long time, I always think that's good. They must have the right attitude, I hope. Wild Bill was born today, and he only lived to 39. So he had a wild approach. So I want you guys to focus and really be a good student tomorrow, and don't let pride and prejudice get in the way. Join us with a very good attitude and being ready to take a lot of notes and learn. Now, today is also Thursday's Live with the Wolffs. So we're going to see you again in about 7 hours. 7 hours and 44 and 16 minutes. And we will be out at a property. And last week was really great, because I got to be along, and we had particularly one of our good properties. This one is just the right property for a pretty house polish. So hopefully we'll see you guys this afternoon, but absolutely we need to see you tomorrow. And this training again, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific, and be ready, be in your good student role, and be ready to take a lot of notes. Okay, so let's take our deep breaths really quick. And deep breath in with a big smile, and let it go. Now our affirmation is, I am a good student. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. I am a good student. 1, 2, 3. I am a good student. Okay, I want you saying that tomorrow now. And, right before we start, thinking, I am a good student and being ready to learn. Guys, that's what a good student ends up being, an effective investor and even maybe a good teacher eventually, if you guys want to learn this and really teach it yourself. And especially to your kids. At least your kids should know this. Okay, so another deep breath in. Smile. And let it go. Relax your shoulders and your neck. This really kicks your day off. I know you're doing this with me, right? And deep breath in. Hold it in. Guys, I have more lung capacity because I do deep breathing, and I feel better, and it's a great pick-me-up. Anytime you're reaching for a little sugary snack or something, or another Diet Coke or something, try doing deep breathing. All right, so be a good student tomorrow, and we'll see you later today as well. Until then, keep expecting success, getting awesome training, and taking lots of action.